Quick experiment. Think of a completely ordinary day from 5 years ago. Not your birthday, not a vacation, just some random Tuesday. Picture yourself there. What were you wearing? What did you eat? Who did you talk to? What were you doing at 3 in the afternoon? Almost nothing? That's weird. Because you were there. You lived through hours of sights, sounds, conversations, thoughts, and now most of that day is gone. So try this. Think about last week. How many individual hours can you actually replay? Now last month, last year. Your life gets enormous very quickly, but your remembered life doesn't. It feels like your brain has been quietly deleting you. But memory doesn't really work like a hard drive. Here's a second experiment. Think about the last time you drove or walked somewhere familiar. Did you remember every building, every person, every turn? Probably not. You were conscious, but your brain wasn't building a detailed memory of every second. Some of your forgotten life may never have become a strong memory in the first place. And here's where things get stranger. Think of a childhood event you barely remember. Got one? Now imagine somebody hands you an old photograph from that day. Suddenly, wait, I remember that room. I remember that person. I remember the wallpaper. What changed? Not the past. The cue. Sometimes a memory can be difficult to retrieve without necessarily being completely erased. And there's an important difference between I can't remember it and it no longer exists. We can't assume they're the same thing. Now test your memory again. Think of a family story you've heard 100 times. Easy, right? Now think of what you ate for breakfast on a random Monday 10 years ago. Yeah, good luck. Why? Because remembering is practice. Every time you retrieve something, you make it easier to retrieve again. That embarrassing thing you did at 14? Your brain has apparently renewed it for another season. Very helpful. But here's the twist. Researchers have found that repeatedly practicing some memories can sometimes make related, unpracticed information harder to retrieve. It's called retrieval-induced forgetting. So remembering something can actually help you forget something else. Under certain conditions, yes. And then scientists found something even stranger. In experiments with mice, researchers identified groups of neurons involved when a memory was formed. Later, the mice behaved as if that memory was gone. They couldn't retrieve it normally. But when researchers artificially activated those previously involved cells, the learned response came back. Now careful, that does not mean your entire childhood is secretly stored in perfect resolution somewhere in your brain. But it does show something important. Forgotten doesn't always mean erased. So let's go back to your random Tuesday. Where did it go? Maybe parts were never strongly encoded. Maybe details weakened. Maybe similar days interfered with each other. Maybe you've lost the right cues. Maybe some pieces are simply difficult to reach. Different causes, same feeling. I don't remember. Now try one final thing. Picture yourself scrolling through old photos. Keep going back. Eventually, you'll find one where you know it's you. You know you were there, but you remember absolutely nothing about that moment. No conversation, no feeling, no 5 minutes before, no 5 minutes after. Just evidence. That's your past. Not one perfect recording. Fragments, scenes, people, places, facts, emotions, stories. You've lived far more of your life than you can ever replay. And somehow, from the pieces that survived, you still recognize yourself. Your brain didn't simply delete your life. Memory is much stranger than that.